we try to, where you have the goal, okay, you have a goal, preset goals, and then you model the interaction, okay, between these different aspects of
using science.
Exactly. Yes. Then we projected, okay, given the current trend of really how people really do their things and so on. Okay, the teachers, the administrators, the lack of resources, lack of tools for teaching this curriculum and so on. It will take Uganda, okay, over 50 years to achieve this.
So does that mean Vision 2040 is something we should forget about?
Is dead, unless.
Welcome to STEM Voices Uganda. My name is Oroma Kenneth. I am a teacher, a scientist, an expert in international education and development. And I am here with my co-host and former teacher.
Yes, Dr. Nelson Ndugu. I have a PhD in computational physics, and I'm really pretty much interested in teaching, in particular using science, teaching, the power of science and how it can be used for socio-economical transformation. Currently, I teach at Makerere.
I'm wondering how you feel co-hosting a podcast with someone who almost gave up on physics.
No. I mean, you were really very brilliant student, right? Super brilliant in your own way, and I'm really very happy to really co-host this wonderful podcast with you and really try to change Uganda and African society at large with you. Thank you so much for honoring everything.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. It's my pleasure. So me and my former teacher bring you STEM Voices Uganda, where scientists discuss how we use science every day to solve our everyday challenges in Uganda. We've seen floods, we've seen road accidents, we've seen a number of things happen in our societies. And as scientists, the big question is our education preparing us for solving these different challenges? And in our first series of the STEM Voices Uganda, we are going to be discussing our latest and almost greatest trend in education, the competence-based curriculum.
For our first episode today is really to look at the origin of this competence-based curriculum and put it into comparative narratives. Which countries have really done it, when did they do it, and what really triggered them to kind of dive into it. Then also try to really relate it with, did Uganda, kind of draw some motivation from this context and so on. And also really we try to kind of, define what this competence-based curriculum is and, try to assess at superficial level whether it can really be used as a tool for economical transformation of Uganda.
But, Nelson, speaking of the competency-based curriculum, you taught me physics. I remember so well you gave us an open book exam that I failed terribly. And was that an example of the competency-based curriculum? And are you proud about how I turned out?
Yes, I am. And I believe you really got to learn a lot of insight from my exercise of using the open book stuff. Because, I mean, one of my motivation for using open book examination by then was because, students were really regurgitating notes, okay? Regurgitating, and really they did do a lot of cram work, and they come to exam when they're fully loaded with, crammed work and so on. At the end of it, you cannot assess, whether they really have the critical insight of what they're really trying to vomit, in examination papers and so on. So I gave that open book examination, to kind of trigger your critical insight, and I really believe it has helped you so much, in particular, perhaps in your research, at master's level in the UK. So I'm really very proud of who you are today, and I believe at some point or in some way, what I did kind of counted towards it. But I'm also very sure that I really got a lot of bad names from being hard on it and so on.
Yeah, I think those are some of the challenges that come with system changes, and
Sure.
We have seen the competency-based curriculum come into Uganda and become a big thing, but then wondering exactly what this competency-based curriculum is. And I think this is a curriculum that looks at empowering students and learners with everyday skills that they need in the job market, that they need in solving everyday challenges. And this is the link that here at STEM Voices Uganda, we are trying to draw to solving different challenges in our society. And however, this did not start from Uganda.
No.
Now, I think most of the times when we hear big names, we sometimes think that we are the only ones and it is in isolation. But the competency-based curriculum first appeared, I think, in the United States. And what's funny about this first time it appeared is its relationship to vocational education.
True.
It was introduced as a way to make vocational education better, skill different people with these vocational skills. And yet the irony here is in Uganda, vocational education is highly despised. After its success in the US, we have seen it move to different parts of the world, in Finland, in Malaysia. South Africa was the first to bring it to Africa, where they were trying to outdo the effects of the apartheid, bring up the different black people and skill them with different things. And what sparked it for us in Uganda?
Yes. So, I mean, the real sparking point or the triggering point for Uganda, I would like to say, is also really our context is a little bit different from the context of South African context. Okay. So, for us here, it was mostly from the socio-economical transformation point of view and in the aspect of the job saturation. So in the past, okay, our education system was mostly more, it was mostly more into kind of training enough human resource, okay, to fill available government jobs, okay. But I mean the population keeps growing, right?
Yeah.
Now, when population really keeps growing, then you produce a lot of children, and these children studies and so on. And because of that, as we speak right now, the available jobs we have provided by both private sectors and the government sector is really very filled, saturated, and there is a lot of high unemployment rates, and that really tickled the government to kind of really think of an alternative way of really how to create more job creators than job seekers, and also create more people who can really create jobs for themselves and their family. So it's mostly that, and it's something which is heavily integrated into Uganda's 2040 vision.
Yeah, and I think that's a great thing that we are thinking of the future jobs. However, relating to how education can solve different societal challenges, how education can help people climb the social ladder, I do feel that's an element of the competence-based curriculum that needs to be looked at much more closely, because if you are reducing education of learners to just jobs, then I would feel education loses its meaning.
Exactly.
It should be just more than preparing people to create jobs or preparing people to take up jobs.
Exactly.
Science education, where we are experts, changes every day. What we are teaching people today might not be there tomorrow, and then they will have to be creative, to think, and will also have to work together to improve their societies. So I think looking at education as just human capital is an element of the CBC curriculum I seriously challenge. But then transitioning away from that, we saw this curriculum successfully introduced in I don't know if successful is the right word to use, introduced in secondary schools, in our lower secondary school curriculum in 2020, and there were various different changes in this curriculum. And if you look at me, your former student who didn't go through the competence-based curriculum, and these graduates of the 2020 competence-based curriculum, do you think you will have a different group of scientists in your classes?
Yes, that's really a very good way of really bringing out the comparative aspect of it. I would say, given if we assume, okay, you've graduated from your ordinary, certificate level of education, of secondary school level, and so on. If you compare the graduate of your time with the graduate of this time, they are pretty much better, right? In the sense that these people, because this new curriculum kind of really requires them to do some aspect of, critical thinking, some aspect of open, small research aspect and so on. But again, I would like to come strongly to this aspect that what we have right now, the current way of how we really deliver this competence-based curriculum, okay? Yeah. Me and my team, we've really tried to model this using some kind of policy prioritization inferencing modeling tool. We try to, where you have the goal, okay? You have a goal, preset goals, then you model the interaction, okay, between these different aspects of
using
education.
science.
Exactly. Yes. Then we projected, okay, given the current trend of really how people really do their things and so on. Okay, the teachers, the administrators, the lack of resources, lack of tools for teaching this curriculum and so on. It will take Uganda, okay, over 50 years to achieve this.
So does that mean Vision 2040 is something we should forget about?
Dead, unless we reimagine this competence-based curriculum.
And speaking of this model that you ran to change, to look at the future of the competency-based curriculum, what are some of the ways this curriculum is being implemented that makes it take up to 50 years? I can't wait that long.
Yes. One of the strongest ingredient or strongest hindrance factor to achieving this 2040 goal using our current curriculum is, well, first of all, there is a lot of, the acceptance rate of the teacher to adopt this new curriculum is really very, very, very low, okay? Their teachers are very comfortable with what, they know right now, and they really are not well, informed, or they are not, well prepared to really accept this new curriculum. Then we have also problem of, resources, okay? Then another thing, in particular, one of the strongest aspect which we really think contributed a lot to, failure in using our model, that will really contribute so much to the failure of attainment of Uganda's 2040 vision, is the way how this curriculum is taught right now, okay? Yeah. I mean, it is right now the curriculum is taught is kind of taught more into brain exercise, okay? Oh. Yeah, but that is good. The brain exercise is good, but the thing is this: the brain exercise can really help pretty much in kind of enhancing the critical aspect, the critical thinking of the students. That's really very good in the aspect that because we know the development of today is different from development of yesterday, and it will be very different from development of tomorrow. And for you to be able to adopt to that,
what are we preparing the students for then?
Exactly. So that is very good. But the thing is this, okay? Yeah. It's not all about the art of the thinking, okay? But then you must also prepare these students with a real hands-on, okay? They must be able to build something. You empower them with the critical thinking. Learning has very many domains, right? The psychomotor domain, okay?
Oh yeah, yes. I remember that from my undergraduate
education. Okay, exactly. Yeah. So the psychomotor domain right now is really not handled. Okay. Especially, let's say, students who are really interested in techno entrepreneurship or engineering entrepreneurships and so on. Okay. Now, right now we at the secondary school we have paucity, okay, of the blueprints to kind of teach this. This kind of entrepreneurial aspect and so on. It's one of the most powerful contributors, which we think will really bring down the attainment of 2040.
I associate with that when you mentioned it, because for about 1.5 years I worked in schools supporting teachers to run robotics projects, and teachers didn't know how to develop projects to develop through the competency-based curriculum. Yet
and you can't give what you don't have.
Yes, the school day has changed from what we used to have in our old curriculum.
Exactly.
Where in the afternoons we used to have boring math lessons. Children are now asked to go and develop projects, and if teachers cannot support these learners develop these projects, then I think what you mentioned, that the model led to that in 50 years we won't be able to achieve goals of this curriculum then.
Yes, exactly. Kenneth, to add more context into that, perhaps we should kind of, I'd like to say it in this aspect. Right now, what we have is really I like to say the teachers are really pretty much deep into, they are happy with kind of scenario and so on, but they are really not equipped, like, in building, a number of, product and so on. And in this competence-based curriculum, the most powerful stuff to do is really to train a teacher to be able to speak at least different disciplines. Okay, let's say, a teacher must have, that small aspect of entrepreneurship. So we have to pump into the teacher, the song of multidisciplinary perspectives. Okay, so they must be able to do some entrepreneurial aspect. They must be able to do some engineering aspect. Okay, let's say for physical science field, they must be able to do this, because I mean the students are very vast. Okay, and they have very varying interests. Okay, so for you to do that, you must be able to run at least, and not one, not two, at least three different key aspects, different disciplines.
I think that this is really sad to mention, because if I hear you share these challenges of the competence-based curriculum, last year I carried out a research on the relationship between education and peace building in northern Uganda, and one of the elements that I closely looked at was the thematic curriculum that was implemented in lower primary schools, which I think was the first instance the competence-based curriculum appeared in Uganda.
Correct.
And when I studied the challenges of the thematic curriculum, the teachers were not ready for it. It was highly rejected, but still implemented in schools. No teacher knew what to do. It feels like we didn't learn from what we have done in the past. We have moved a great journey as a country when it comes to our education systems and our curriculum. Recently, I saw a recommendation by a committee about new education reforms, for example, like scraping off the primary leaving examination shortly after our graduates finished their our first graduates of the competence-based curriculum had their first results out. And I think these are conversations that we should start having as a country. We have looked at the challenges of the competence-based curriculum. We have placed it within its history. But then what does this mean for us? What do we do moving forward? And I think these are discussions we shall have in our upcoming episodes. But as we come to a close of this, for our next episode, there's been a lot of fun around the country about the new UCE results. I still do not know what the E stands for. In our time, we used to have, was it the U or F?
Yes, it was you. It was you, yeah, it was you.
Did U stand for ungraded, or what was U?
I mean, people used to say it's something like useless, useless grades or capable grades, but it was something like, as I think you said, it's what? Ungraded result. So where you've really failed everything, you've really gotten all the score below all the pass marks.
Yeah,
so
and
ungraded scores, yeah.
The competence-based curriculum came with also new modes of assessment.
Correct.
And we have seen the new results.
Chaos.
Very complete new way of assessment. Someone said the head teacher slapped the head of department chemistry. But on our next episode, we shall break down these results. We shall break down this assessment, and we shall dive deeper into more elements of the competence-based curriculum. What else should our listeners know?
Yes, so we should also expect to really kind of give some career guidance extracted from this assessment of competence-based curriculum. Let's say, given your current gradings or scores you get or you got, what alternatives, okay, or what combination or what careers would you consider? And for those who think they really can't make it to higher level of education, then we also really prepared to kind of expound more insight and more direction on really what one can do, what knowledge, how can you extend the snippet of your knowledge, the product-based knowledge which you got from the competence-based curriculum into something which can really trigger a very powerful entrepreneurial entity. Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to Me and my former teacher.
We are now colleagues.
And
Yeah.
please look forward to the next episode.